Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video to discuss some draft prospects. This time, we're doing wide receivers and tight ends. We're combining the two positions into one kind of full position group, just because in this case, there's not a lot of tight ends that we want to talk about. So, yeah, going to be discussing wide receivers and tight ends today. And quick little stipulation for that, we're not talking about Travis Hunter. I'm going to talk about him when we talk about the secondary because he's going to the draft combine as a corner. So we'll talk about him in a future video. So yeah, before we dive into it, guys, we'll be talking about subscribe if you're new, leave a like, greatly appreciated, and the whole YouTube spiel. So now let's begin right into it. Talk about the three wide receivers first, with Tetaroa McMillan out of Arizona, aka T Mac, and he is the second rated. He's the second highest rated wide receiver in this class, and it is well deserved. That's 6'5", 210, an absolute beast of a wide receiver. Played really well in the Big 12 last year, and for an Arizona team that really wasn't the greatest. But again, he still played really well. Still an athletic freak, a great route runner that can play really well, and really does play to his height as a fantastic deep threat receiver. He is someone where for as much I would like Miami to draft him if wide receiver was a bigger need. I mean, again, being the type of receiver he is, I would not be upset if Miami drafts him at pick 13. But he's going to be a first round wide receiver, most likely a top 10 pick, I would assume. But just overall, like a really fantastic player. And no matter what team that's going to draft him is going to get a wide receiver one of the future. He is just that good. I really like what really like what he was able to do at Arizona. And I really like how he was able to play, considering kind of how weak Arizona as a whole was last year. But he uses his size really well, uses his frame really well, and uses his physicality well, on top of being fast, and on top of being a great route runner. So again, if it wasn't for Travis Hunter being the Heisman winner that he was, McMillan, T-Mac would be the top-rated wide receiver, and for very, very good reasons. He's a stud. He plays really well, and yeah, it's pretty much the perfect build for a wide receiver that a lot of teams are going to be looking for. So I really like what he has really like what he has to show. And depending on how you view Travis Hunter, you may view T Mac as the first receiver off the board or the second. But either way, again, just a fantastic receiver that no team is going to be disappointed with drafting. So now we're going to follow a few positional ranks according to ESPN. The next wide receiver is Alec Iomaner out of Stanford, the 11th ranked receiver. This is a kind of a personal selection to talk about for me, just because I've my buddy Tosid, who is also a part of this channel for the basketball stuff mainly. When he was trying to get into football last year, but technically 2 years ago, we watched the Stanford Colorado 29-point comeback from Stanford game, and Iomaner went off from that game, and kind of just been a guy for me and him to keep an eye on since, and I have been. And he's been playing really well with Stanford, and I'm kind of shocked he's entering the draft this year. Kind of thought he would wait another year, but either way, it is an underrated receiving option this year. Another receiver at 6'2", 210 that's able to use his size well. A great deep threat, able to make some insane catches that we saw last year and we saw 2 years ago, especially in that Colorado game I mentioned. And just all around, again, able to use his size well, has some good speed to him, has some good athleticism, but is mainly a big body threat. And when he gets the ball in his hands, he knows how to make plays with it. He's an all around great receiver. I'm not sure if he would be a wide receiver one in the NFL, but he is the damn sure good slot option or receiver two option for a team. And with you most likely being able to get him in day two, it's definitely and day two, more so third round, maybe even early fourth. It's definitely a value option there for a team that might be looking for for a receiver that can be purely used as a deep threat and not even really looking for someone that is going to get the majority of the target shares. Because with Iron Monitor, he's going to make the most out of the target shares he gets, and you're not going to be disappointed with it by any means. So the next wide receiver is going a little bit further down the positional rankings according to ESPN. The 19th ranked receiver, Nick Nash, out of San Jose State, and another kind of bigger body receiver. He's 6'3", 195, definitely more so on the more elusive and the speed side of things, and more so probably that slot role. But he won the Triple Crown for FBS level football last year and was playing some really damn well. Did I really get the recognition that he deserved last year, in part because he played in the Mountain West, and also because of what Travis Hunter was able to do. But Nick Nash is a damn good player. Again, he won the Triple Crown for receivers last year, led FBS football in receiving touchdowns, receiving yards, and receptions as a fantastic option, and definitely a value option. We talk about value options, guys you can get in late day 2 or just in day 3. Nick Nash is going to be a threat for some team, and it's going to be going to be a story of how did he fall this far. And there's obviously the concerns about the level of competition they played against, but I don't think that really matters with just how good he can be. It's a value option, definitely a high upside, but Nick Nash can be that great slot receiver that we've seen a lot of successful teams have to utilize in the past. I mean, New England had their long history of successful slot receivers, from Wes Welker to Danny Amendola to Julian Edelman, and even teams like Kansas City, they get a good value out of their slot positions. And Nick Nash is the perfect guy to be the next big name slot receiver that a team can rely on if needed to make a third down grab or to make a red zone grab out of the slot. He's all around. I feel like he deserved more attention in this previous year of college football. I definitely think he is better than the 19th ranked receiver, but it's still a good value option whether he's ranked at 19th as a receiver or he's ranked at like 15 or 16. But again, just a solid receiving option that a team will definitely be happy with drafting in come day 3 and even late day 2. So now, with the receivers out the way, let's talk about the 2 tight ends I really want to talk about. The first is Tyler Warren, out of Penn State, 6'6", 255, and his position is a tight end. But really, if you remember back when Kyle Pitts was entering the league and all this talk about he's more so of a unicorn or a utility guy, this is more so Tyler Warren than it was Kyle Pitts. Because the thing with Kyle Pitts is, yeah, he lined up in a slot a lot. He was a good receiving option, but the areas where he lacked were important attributes for a tight end. Tyler Warren does not feel like he lacks those attributes. And the key thing is with his blocking ability. Tyler Warren is a physical beast that can block well in the run game and even block well in the pass game if needed to be. Plus, he can just make plays. He's very tough to tackle, very tough to bring down. His hands is fantastic. And it's the case where if he falls to Miami at 13, or hell, if he falls to like 10 or 11, if he falls outside the top 10, I want Miami to try their hardest to go up and get him. He's a difference maker of a tight end, similar to the likes of Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Maybe not exactly to those level, but probably like a Dallas Goedert type, where he's a reliable hands option for third down and for red zone options. And if he gets the ball in space, he's going to be a pretty tough guy to bring down. And plus, he can just block like a truck. It's a very fun to watch him play. And it's all because he does the minor things excellently compared to some of the other tight end options, even in free agency and in the draft especially. There's a reason he's the number 1 ranked tight end, and there's a reason why he's being talked about a lot for a team to go grab to be a difference maker offensive weapon. The final player we'll talk about, another player with a little bit of a bias towards talking about him here, but it's Mason Taylor out of LSU, the 3rd ranked tight end, 69th ranked prospect overall, son of Dolphins legend Jason Taylor, and he's another guy where he can be a very solid tight end in the league. Definitely nowhere, I don't think near the level that Tyler Warren can be, or near the elite level tight ends, but a guy where you bring him in for a tight end 2, like similar to what Miami might need with Jonnu Smith being tight end 1, you bring him in for a tight end 2 role, you're not going to be disappointed. 6'6", 253. Again, another tight end who can make plays in space, but that's not his primary thing. He's definitely more so on the blocking side, even though he can 100% use his frame to be a good receiving option. But he blocks well, and again, there's a very important thing for a tight end, being able to block well, hold his own in the passing game as well. Run blocking maybe could use a little bit of work on, but again, he does a good job. He does a good enough job, and especially with blocking in space. And again, being a possible day 3 selection or late day 2, you're not going to be too worked up about if he has some things to work on, because you can always develop him towards those other things. He's pretty much, I wouldn't say discount Tyler Warren, but he's a good safety net for a team looking for a tight end to fall back on. If you don't think you can get Tyler Warren, then you can probably shift focus to getting Mason Taylor in the 2nd or even early 3rd round while you work on some other positions. Because again, he might not be that elite level of status that Tyler Warren can be, or that other tight ends are in free agency, but he's going to be a really solid and damn good tight end for any team that drafts him, and especially for a team that drafts him is able to develop him properly. He has a lot of potential, a lot of upside, and I really like where we saw from him at LSU, and I really like what he can bring to an NFL team. So those are the five guys I want to talk about. Again, no comprehensive top 5 list by any means. I just go based off of ESPN rankings for the order I talk about them in. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.